The New York Giants offense looked like a giant disappointment in the 2025 NFL season opening 21-6 loss at the hands of the Washington Commanders after failing to score a single touchdown while producing just 231 total yards against an average defensive unit. After struggling throughout the majority of Giants' debut, many questioned whether Russell Wilson or Jackson Dart should be the starting quarterback entering Week 2 of the NFL season. Well, New York head coach Brian Daboll appears to be leaning in one direction entering their matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. Brian Daboll intends to stick with QB Russell Wilson under center against Dallas Cowboys for Week 2. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter on X, the New York Giants intend to stick with veteran Russell Wilson at quarterback for their Week 2 showdown against the Dallas Cowboys. Schefter wrote on X, Giants HC Brian Daboll told reporters that the team intends to start Russell Wilson on Sunday against the Cowboys. This comes shortly after Daboll appeared a bit noncommittal to the former Super Bowl winning quarterback after the game, but it does appear Russ may get a shot at redemption against another NFL East rival to start the year. Wilson went 17 of 37 for 168 yards and no scores against the Commanders, but did add 44 yards on 8 carries, which actually led the team in rushing against Washington. Wilson tried to take matters into his own hands with a scramble on 3rd and goal in the first quarter, but fumbled the ball just short of the goal line. The Giants' offense was stuck in neutral for the vast majority of this game, which has ESPN's Dan Graziano believing that Wilson's job is already in jeopardy after just one bad performance. You want to talk about looking ugly? I watched the Giants lose 21-6 to the Commanders in person Sunday, and this offense does not look competitive with Russell Wilson running it, wrote Graziano. Wilson was pressured on 16 of his 45 dropbacks, 36%, and handled that pressure quite poorly. He was 2 of 12 for 26 yards and was sacked twice when pressured. Pressure is enough to make any quarterback ineffective, but Wilson didn't manage to generate many explosive plays in the passing attack even when he found himself with time against the Commanders. Graziano added, he wasn't much better when he had time to throw, finishing 17 for 37 for 168 yards. He ran for 44 yards on 8 carries, mainly scrambles to get away from said pressure. The Giants moved the ball at times and got into some goal-to-go situations, but could not score a touchdown. New York had 231 total yards, averaged 4 yards per pass attempt, and 3.2 yards per rush. The best thing you can say about the Giants' offense Sunday is that the unit didn't turn the ball over. Yet, the Giants still lost by 15. Could Jackson Dart see action in Week 2? Giants head coach Brian Daboll must think there isn't much to lose by turning to rookie QB Jackson Dart. After all, how much worse can it get than the Giants currently sitting in dead last in the NFL in scoring offense through the first 15 games of NFL action in 2025? Dart had a very encouraging preseason, and Daboll's job is firmly on the hot seat this season. If Wilson fails to get the Giants' offense moving in the right direction against the Cowboys, don't be surprised if Dart sees the field in Week 2. The Dallas Cowboys are placing defensive tackle Perrion Winfrey on injured reserve. The team announced the move on Monday afternoon. Winfrey was inactive for the Cowboys last Thursday night in Philadelphia after missing practices with injury. Clearly, he has some sort of back issue that the team believes merits missing time. Per the NFL's rules involving injured reserve, Winfrey must now miss at least 4 games. Given that he was on the team's active 53-man roster, they now have a spot available to do with as they please. For what it's worth, safety Malik Hooker was not seen by members of the media in attendance at the Star on Monday. It is unknown if there is any connection to these things or what is going on with Hooker specifically. Obviously, absences can be explained by a number of different things. Perrion Winfrey is a name that just about every Cowboys fan was excited about in the run-up to the regular season. Hopefully, we are able to see something from him sooner rather than later. With a chance to land a massive upset against the Philadelphia Eagles in the regular season opener, the Dallas Cowboys fell just shy of their mission, leaving Lincoln Financial Field with a narrow 24-20 loss that also saw them push the defending champs to the limit and, with a chance late in the game, to potentially mount a comeback win. There are no moral victories, as head coach Brian Schottenheimer hammered home in his press conference following the loss, but it's also true the Cowboys looked very competitive, in ways they haven't in the past, e.g., run defense. And with back-to-back division foes to start the season, they'll need to quickly reload for week 2. The rule I abide by is the midnight rule. That's a Marty Schottenheimer rule, said Brian Schottenheimer on Monday. We didn't get done playing until after midnight in Philly, but his thing was you have until midnight to feel sorry for yourself or be excited. Once midnight hits, at 12:01 a.m., you move on to the next opponent because it'll be another great team coming in. That team, this week, is the New York Giants, and they boast their own fair share of talent. For though the Giants are still working to figure out things at quarterback between rookie Jackson Dart and someone Schottenheimer knows exceedingly well, namely Russell Wilson, what's already known about Big Blue is just how destructive their defensive line can be, if allowed, meaning no opponent can be overlooked, regardless of their own internal challenges. The league is exactly where they want to be. Very good football teams and very close games, Schottenheimer added. The parity is real. I believe that is important. This one carries over a bit because I do believe the league mandates you give the guys a couple days off, so we had a touch on today, but we don't shy away from having hard conversations or celebrating big wins. The process is always the same. One of the biggest keys to nearly escaping the link with a victory was just how physical the Cowboys were in the trenches, the offensive line allowing no sacks on All-Pro quarterback Dak Prescott, while the defensive line held all-world running back Saquon Barkley to just 60 rushing yards on 18 attempts and the Eagles' offense to 0 points in the second half. That, along with the absence of the usual rash of penalties suffered by the Cowboys, sets a strong foundation for which Schottenheimer can build upon going forward. We're a very confident group, he said. We're confident in the guys we have in that locker room. I do think the physicality jumps off, but I'll also speak to the discipline. Going into that environment, it was loud as it should be on opening night, NFL regular season 2025, and our guys played disciplined. We had the one pre-snap penalty which was on us as coaches, 12 men on the field, and when you have that type of discipline and you play with that type of physical standard of football and you carry that into not being yourselves. We didn't beat ourselves much. We didn't have a lot of self-inflicted wounds. We had the one turnover that cost us, certainly, but the first thing that jumps out is physicality. It's that very same physicality that will give them a chance to win every one of their games if the consistency of it remains the same over the remainder of the season, and doing away with self-inflicted wounds would add to the recipe for likely success. The league is all about taking lessons learned from the previous week and avoiding the same mistakes, be it a penalty or a dropped pass, and Schottenheimer feels the Cowboys will do exactly that going into their home opener in a few days. Just 6 seconds into the 2025 season, and as Eagles fullback/special teams ace Ben VanSumeren was being carted off the field with a knee injury suffered on the opening kickoff, the spit seen around the world sent shockwaves through Lincoln Financial Field. Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter was ejected from the game after spitting on Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott during an injury timeout. Carter was flagged for a 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty, tossed from the game, and then escorted to the locker room by Big Dom DeSandro, the team's head of security. The Eagles survived the ejection, edging out a 24-20 Lightning delayed win over Dallas on the night they hung the Super Bowl 59 banner at the Link. After the game, Carter and Prescott addressed the loogie. Here's what we know, and what's next. Jalen Carter apologizes after spitting on Cowboys' Dak Prescott. After the opening kickoff, the broadcast showed Carter and Prescott exchanging words before the Eagles' Pro Bowl DT spat on the Dallas quarterback's jersey and then backing away. Prescott was seen motioning to a nearby referee, who threw the flag and ejected Carter. It was more of a surprise than anything, Prescott said after the game. The refs obviously saw it. Threw the flag. I was like, hell yeah. We get 15 yards to start the game off. Didn't realize he was getting ejected. Unfortunate that he did. Hell of a player. 5 hours after his disqualification, Carter stood by his locker and apologized for the incident. It was a mistake that happened on my side. It won't happen again, Carter said. I feel bad for just my teammates and fans out there. I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for my family also. But the fans, they showed the most love. We're going to get it better, Carter added. It won't happen again. I can make that promise.